was an increase, that was an addition in regard to what the Sharia came with. بل قد جاء في الحديث أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم توضأ ثلاثا. But even there was a narration that the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, he made wudu with three, washing or three, or washing the three, or wiping, washing on the body limbs 3 times. وقال من زاد على ذلك, and he mentioned, and whoever added to this, فقد آسى, he has indeed transgressed, وتعدى وظلم, and he has went beyond the limits, and he is guilty, he is faulty. And this hadith أخرجه Imam Ahmad والنسائي in Kitab al-Tahara.
Is that a reference to say you making a wudu, but you wipe 3 times, but you missed an area, can you still go back over?
La, but rather the person intentionally he add the fourth one. Intentionally he add the fourth one. Or like some of these people, they do when they make wudu, they will go all the way to the knee. They will go all the way to the knee. You will see them, they will roll over their garment all the way to their thighs. They will go all the way to the knees. So that addition, barakallahu fikum, is not from the Sharia. So therefore, barakallahu fikum, the person make wudu, as the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he made wudu 3. And he mentioned that whoever go beyond to this, man zada ala dhalik, whoever go beyond this, meaning this 3 times, faqad asaa, he has indeed sinned, wa ta'adda, and he has transgressed, wa dhalama, and he has went beyond the limits. Because al-dhulm is what? Yes, wad'u shay fi ghayri mawdi'ihi. Wad'u shay fi ghayri mawdi'ihi. Right? It's like a shirk. It is dhulm. That's why Luqman, he mentioned it is a dhulm. Because it is to place something in its improper place. Because the worship, it is for Allah. But one is giving the worship to someone else. رابعا, number 4. أن يكون العمل موافقا للشريعة في كيفيته. That the action being in line with the Sharia in regard to the how about. The how about. فلو عمل شخصا عملا يتعبد به الله وخالف الشريعة في كيفيته لم يقبل منه وعمله مردود عليه. If a person, he does the action and he is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with it, but he is in opposition with the Sharia in the how about, that action will not be accepted and his action will be rejected. ومثاله, and the example of it, لو أن رجلا صلى وسجد قبل أن يركع. Let's say a person is praying, but he is making sujood before he making ruku'u. Right? He's making sujood before he's making, and we all know that barakallahu fikum, that the ruku'u come first before the ruku'u. That means before the sujood. The ruku'u come first before the sujood. So the Shaykh rahimahullah say, فَصَلَاتُهُ بَاطِلَةٌ مَرْدُودٌ لأنها لم يوافق الشريعة في كيفيته. That his action will be, his salah will be null and void, because he haven't prayed in the way that has been legislated by the Sharia. وكذلك لو توضأ, and likewise if the person would have made the wudu, and he is starting with his feet, ثم الرأس ثم اليد ثم الوجه فوضوءه باطلا. Let's say the person, he say he's gonna make wudu, but he's gonna start with the feet, and then the head, the hands, and the face, and ila akhir. Then he say that his wudu is batil, لأنه مخالفة للشريعة في الكيفية, because he is in opposition with the Sharia in regard to how about these actions. خامسا, number 5. He said أن يكون العمل موافقا للشريعة في الزمان أو في الزمان. that the person doing the action be in line with the Sharia in regard to the time that has been legislated for that action. طيب. And he say, for instance, لو صلى صلاة قبل دخول وقتها. Let's say a person, he's making the salah, excuse me, he's making the salah before the entering of the time. طيب. He's making the salah before the entrance of the time. Before the entrance of the time, he say he hasn't, his salah غير مقبولة. His salah is not accepted. His salah is not accepted. لأنها في زمن غير ما حدده الشرع. Because he has prayed in a time that has not been numbered, or in a time that has not been established by the Sharia. By the Sharia. And many times people, if they are facing the issue of going to work and praying, or I gotta go to work, I gotta be at work by whatever the case might be. Let's say at 2 o'clock, طيب, and the salah comes in at 2 o'clock. I gotta be there at 2 o'clock. Can I pray before I leave the house? Can I pray at 1:55? الزمان الوقت نفس الشيء. الزمان بمعنى الوقت. الزمان والوقت نفس الشيء. طيب. الزمان and الوقت is the same. Zaman is time, right? And al-waqt is the same. So therefore he mentioned that if the person would have prayed at a time that is not the entrance of the salah, so for salatuhu ghayru maqbula, that his salah is not acceptable. Limada, because of the time that he has done so. Likewise, ولدها قبل أن يصلي صلاة العيد لم تقبل لأنه لم يوافق الشرع في الزمان. Let's say the person also, he slaughter his animal before barakallahu fikum making the Salatul Eid. Slaughter his animal before he go to the Salatul Eid. In that regard, his udhiyah will not be accepted, because of that he is not in line with the time that has been established. Likewise, the Shaykh Hafidhahullah, he say, Rahimahullah, he say, ولو اعتكف في غير زمنه فإنه ليس بمشروع لكنه جائز. If the person will do i'tikaf in that time that is not the time for i'tikaf, he mentioned فإنه ليس بمشروع, it is not legislated, but it is permissible. And we know the time for the i'tikaf that as done by the Messenger was when? In Ramadan. In Ramadan. طيب. And more so in the last 10 days. But if the person, barakallahu fikum, would have do it the whole month of Ramadan, mathalan, it is not legislated, but it will be permissible. Right? Because of what? That لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أقر عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه على اعتكاف في مسجد الحرام حين نظره. Because the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم had indeed agreed with Umar ibn al-Khattab to make the i'tikaf in the Masjid al-Haram when he had vowed for that. When he had vowed for that. And this was not in the time of Ramadan. سادسا, number 6, أن يكون العمل موافقا للشريعة في المكان, that the action that the person is doing has to be in line with the place. It has to be in line with the place. And he gives the same example, barakallah, of the i'tikaf. He say, فَلَوْ أَنَّ أَحَدًا, if a person اعتكف في غير المساجد, if a person would have do i'tikaf, meaning secluding himself in the masjid, طيب, but he seclude himself in other than in the masjid, right? بأن يكون قد اعتكف في المدرسة أو في البيت, like he will make the i'tikaf, seclude himself in the classroom, or seclude himself in the school, or seclude himself in his house, and the likes of this. طيب فإن اعتكافه, his i'tikaf لا يصح, it is not correct, لأنه لم يوافق الشرع في مكان الاعتكاف, because he hasn't performed the i'tikaf in a place that has been legislated by the Sharia. فالاعتكاف محله المسجد, the place for the i'tikaf is the masjid. The place for the i'tikaf is in the masjid, not in the middle of the desert, not in the middle of the town, or not in the middle of somewhere in the boondocks, but rather in the masjid. In the masjid, where the salawatul khams is being established and the salatul jum'ah is established. Not even in the musalla, but in the barakallahu fikum, the masjid, where the salatul khamsa are being established and the salatul jum'ah is being established. Fahimtum? And like this individual, for instance, they will take all the men out to go in the middle of the outskirts of the city, of the village or the city, and they will be remaining there for days and days. It's not in the masjid, it's just like an area that they choose to be. This is not barakallahu fikum something that they will be rewarded. And subhanallah al-azim, that this individual, they spend so much money, so much time in regard to doing something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not reward you. All this time and all these efforts that the person is placing, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not reward the person. So the i'tikaf for that person is not barakallahu fikum accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
What example did you give for the amount? What example did the Shaykh give?
You say the example of making wudu, and a person adding the fourth cleaning or the fourth washing of the body, of the limbs. So the Shaykh Hafidhahullah, Rahimahullah, Shaykh Uthaymin, he say, and likewise the i'tikaf, those who they seclude themselves in their homes. And you have those, barakallahu fikum, they claim that they are looking for the future, right? As they call it, they go into khalwa, right? How you call it? Khalwa, right? Khilwa, that's how you say? Khilwa, yeah. So they pretend that they go into khalwa, meaning they will seclude themselves for days in their own room. Nobody even in the house will see them. Their wife, their children, nobody will see them for a week, or for 2 weeks, or for a month, depending on the seriousness of the evil that they want to do. Allahul Musta'an. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam never done so. His i'tikaf was in the masjid, and even yet he used to do what? He used to interact with the people. His wife Aisha radiyallahu anha used to, barakallahu fikum, comb his hair in the masjid. Barakallahu fikum. So he mentioned, so therefore take heed to these usul or sitta, these 6 principles. He say, وَطَبِّقْ عَلَيْهَا كُلَّ مَا يُرِيدُ عَلَيْكَ. He say, and implement it in everything that you desire to do as act of worship. Look into these 6 things. That really, that am I in line with every single one of them in regard to the action that you want to do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If not, then the action will be rejected. وهذا أمثلة على جملة من الأمور المردودة لأنها مخالفة لأمر الله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And likewise, the example that has been established in regard to these 6 affairs that will be rejected, or these matters that will be rejected, لأنها مخالفة لأمر الله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So also take heed of these matters that we are about to bring to you. That will be, alaykum salam, that will be in regard to, in opposition with the command of Allah and the command of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Number 1, من باع أو اشترى بعد الأذان الثاني يوم الجمعة وهو ممن يجب عليه الجمعة